Hi, my name is Whitney, and I'm a voter engagement volunteer with the League of Women Voters of North Dakota. And I'm here today to talk about how to vote in North Dakota's 2024 presidential primary/caucus process. A little bit of background on North Dakota. As of now, February 2024, there are two established political parties. One, we have the NDGOP, which is our Republican Party, and two, the North Dakota Dem-NPL, which is our Democratic Party. North Dakota is the only state without voter registration. So if you're new to our state, you do not need to register to vote with the state. You do not need to register with a political party, but you do need to have a North Dakota voter ID to participate. You also must be a qualified elector or qualified voter. That means you're a U.S. citizen, you're 18 years old or older on election day, and you're a resident of North Dakota. Here's a little history in case you're wondering, why doesn't the state run the presidential primary process? It used to, but the last time was in 1996. But in 1999, the state legislature voted to not fund the state-run primaries anymore and leave it up to the political parties. And they've been doing that since the year 2000. Mostly they've been holding caucuses, which is when a political party holds in-person meetings where its members voice their preference for a candidate. And it will also usually include speeches by candidates or people who support those candidates trying to persuade others to vote in favor of those candidates. So it's an in-person meeting process. You'll see that this year, the Dem-NPL is doing a party-run primary, which is a closed party-run vote by ballot. So you don't have that in-person meeting piece. It's also important to note that in this process, you're not voting directly for a candidate. You're voting, and then they look at the sum of those votes, and it allocates delegates who then go on to vote in the national nominating convention for candidates. And that's when you get your nominee for a party. So it's an indirect vote, sending delegates there. So we'll start with the Dem-NPL and their party-run primary process. Their date is March 30th, 2024, and you can participate by doing a vote-by-mail ballot. And I'll go over how to get your vote-by-mail ballot on the next slide. Your requirements are you're a qualified voter at the next general election, so that's when you need to be 18, and you also must sign a statement that you will not vote in another party's primary, and that will come in the mail with your ballot after you order it. The Dem-NPL, our Democratic Party, gets 14 delegates for the Democratic National Convention, which is happening in August. Their website is dem-npl.com if you want to learn more about them and get involved. How to participate. To get your ballot and apply for one, you'll go to mrgballot.com. I'll put the link in the description below, and then select North Dakota. You'll fill out some information, submit, and then the Dem-NPL will start sending out ballots February 20th, and then do it on a rolling basis as they get applications. Ballots must be received by noon on March 30th to be counted. Noon, March 30th. Make sure you give yourself enough lead time in the mail to mail it out so it arrives March 30th to the Dem-NPL. There's not going to be in-person voting except for residents on the reservations. There'll be a polling station in place for that one day. So look on the Dem-NPL's website for that information, which wasn't posted yet. On the right is where you return the ballot to the P.O. box, which will also be in what you receive in the mail. And you can, if you live in Fargo, you can drop off your ballot at their Fargo office on March 30th by noon, but make sure you call ahead to make sure staff is there. So there's their physical address and their phone number if you would like to do that. Okay, so that's the Democratic Party's process and how you can get involved. Now we have the NDGOP's caucus process. So their in-person meeting date, March 4th, 2024, 5 to 8 p.m. Central Time, 4 to 7 p.m. Mountain Time. The next slide will have those locations. But first, the requirements. You must be a member of the NDGOP to participate. Membership is $50, or you can sign a statement when you go that says you intend to affiliate with the NDGOP. So you can sign that there. You also must present a valid North Dakota voter ID. And if you don't know what that is, please head to the Secretary of State's website to find out more. All right, the NDGOP gets 29 delegates for the Republican National Convention held in July. The NDGOP's website is ndgop.org if you want to learn more or if you want to get involved. I will also put a link to their caucus page in the description. How do you participate? Well, here are your locations. It's a great moment to pause and write down your location. Find the city nearest you, write down the address. March 4th, 5 p.m., head down to your site, 4 p.m. Mountain Time. And you'll see Cavalier TBD on that. So make sure if you're in the Cavalier area, to check that link in the description to get your site. All right, that's the Republican Party's process for presidential primary. Finally, your 2024 election dates. March 4th, we have the NDGOP's presidential caucus process. March 30th, we have the Dem-NPL's party-run primary process for presidential candidates. So these two are run by the parties, and it's just the president that you're looking at for the parties. That's what those two are. For the second two, June 11th and November 5th, these are run by the state. So it's the whole process where you can get an absentee ballot, you can go down to your polling site. So those two are run by the state, June 11th, November 5th. You'll see state primary there for June 11th. That is all the other state candidates, their primary. So the first two in March, those are just president. State primary is all the other candidates' primary. And then those local offices, the city elections, that's their general election. So please mark June 11th down. November 5th, that's your general election. And if you don't know your candidates, North Dakota League of Women Voters has a great resource on vote411.org where we send questions to all those candidates for the June and November elections. And you can compare their answers. And I'll put Vote 411, a link to it in the description.